Darcy McBride, BFL 53, has come and gone. The biggest main event in Canadian history. Did you think it went as anticipated?
I'll say that I got 4 predictions that the fight would go to a decision yesterday from our main card and our undercard fighters. And they don't know that I kind of laughed them out of the room as they walked out, because I didn't think there was any way in high holy hell that that thing was going to a decision. And you know, I think that a lot of what we saw in that fight at a lower level, it wouldn't have went to a decision. One of those guys would have crumbled. But for the first time, I'm gonna go out and say it, for the first time in Battlefield Fight League, we got to see the highest of the high level. That's awesome. We're not at the high level because I'm not in the bottom of like Rogers Place with a quiet area to talk to you guys. But, you know, we saw a higher level. Matt looked tired in that second round. He got caught in the first round, looked tired in the second round, and he was able to get through second by minute by round as a pro and put it on Chris. Now, Buckwist, to his defense, he's never been put on his back for that kind of sustained time. We haven't seen that at all out of him. The dude got to his feet a bunch of times. He was throwing strikes, he was throwing elbows. He wasn't, I won't say that he was beat up, and maybe, you know, that's where Dwyer found himself in a sticky situation with that split decision, is the fact that he maybe didn't do enough damage from the top. He was holding on. Not so much in a bad way, he was being heavy. I don't know, it was a weird fight. It wasn't how I thought it was gonna go. How it went in the first 2 minutes is how I thought it was gonna go. There were lots of strikes exchanged. Buckwist got hit, got cut. Dwyer got hit, got rocked. And I thought, you know, the judges can go get a hot dog because there's 10 or 15 minutes at the most here. I know this is long-winded, but you know, this is how I saw it. I've been waiting 5 months to call this fight, so it wasn't what I expected. But Dwyer's professionalism didn't surprise me at all. And I don't mean professionalism like shaking hands. I mean like the fact he put in a fucking workman-like effort tonight. He earned that middleweight title, and when he said people forgot who he was, tonight as people leave, they remember who he was. After the fight, you asked him if he thinks Chris deserves a rematch. He said it doesn't work that way. Do you think we see Dwyer back in the BFL cage? Nope. And truthfully, and I don't even want to say it, but I'm not sure we see Chris Anderson back in the Battlefield Fight League cage. And a 6-1 pro who just finished a 10-fight win streak. I don't know, there's two sides to this. I mean, you know, some people will say, oh, he's not meant to be a fighter if he can lose and quit. I feel like Chris Anderson might be capable of bigger things than being a professional fist fighter. He's very well spoken, you know, very, very smart, you know, intricately thought kind of guy. It shows from what he's done with his fight purses and all that. And the fact he's a good fighter almost comes second. And you know, that's not to discredit. He's pissed. He's not happy. He told me, I feel like shit. Yeah, he lost a fight tonight, man. And he thought he was going to win that fight. And that's tough. So I hope, I won't say he's a quitter, because I don't think even if he retires, he's quitting. I would say I hope he doesn't move on. Because the sport, not only in BC, but on a whole, is better with guys like him competing in it. Champion or not, top guy or not, the sport is better with him. Dave Perron shows some serious tenacity, versatility in the co-main event. Do you think we see him back in the cage? Because he said after the fight, you know, this might be my last fight. I don't think we see him stop fighting, because that guy is a fighter at heart. You know, it was interesting. I said after we did the roundtable the other night, I was sitting with BFL President Jay Golshani, and I said, you know, isn't it weird that 3 of those 4 guys could potentially never be seen in this promotion again? And what I was talking about was our main event, obviously, with Dwyer winning and moving on. Buck was maybe not continuing his career. Perron winning on a high and letting the career go, and, you know, Curtis Harriott, who, as I said, had the best performance of his career. Yes. Like, it's not even close. I don't even know what I would say was better than that, because he steamrolled his first few wins. What did he have, a 14.5 minute, like, awesome performance and get caught with an outside heel hook? And like Dave said, you've had your time and you're young, and you'll have your time again, and that's the only thing you can hang your hat on if you're Curtis, is you're so young that you're like, shit, my record numbers aren't that great. But look who we saw in the building tonight, Cajun Johnson. What's his record? 15-9-1. If you look at the first half of Cajun's career, he lost more fights than he won. And then he was able to turn it around and make it into a career. So, you know, it means you can learn people say, lose an amateur, it doesn't matter. If you're talented enough, you can learn as a professional as well, and it won't cost you your career. And for what I saw tonight from Curtis Harriott, man, I hope that's the case with him. I don't want to see him discouraged. He put on an absolute show, but Showtime, You know, the guy, he brings out half the crowd. He comes through and does things, you know, that marketing-wise fighters at this level aren't supposed to be able to do.
Right,
and, you know,
for sure.
His marketing ability. So, you know, to wrap it up, great fight. The crowd, I've never had to stop an intro to a fight card to let the crowd let me know they were there before. And it was a good 20 seconds. So, amazing co-main event. A couple more performances. I mean, anything else that caught your eye before I get into that?
I was impressed by Jamie Suraj. He also showed some tenacity in that fight. You know, he had his way with the guy, but he showed an impressive performance, being able to just... versatility is what I want to say. He looked great. The other guy who fought Craig, Carlos Galvan, looked very impressive as well. And the fact that they're giving him a title fight in my interview with Jamie pisses him off.
I can see that, and I can see why he'd be upset. And I don't want to side against him because you know I got love for you, Gremlin. But I thought you looked better tonight at that 150 and potentially cut to 45 than I've maybe seen him at 35. Cajun talked about he's a lot stronger. He's gone from being a young guy who's a prospect to being, you know, an adult who's a pro. And I think I referenced that at least 2 or 3 times tonight. And you know, JT Donaldson came out, and this is a guy, you know, he's been in there with some of the best dudes in the world legitimately. You know, AJ McKee Jr., one of them. And he came in tonight and put everything he could put on Jamie. I just feel like you could be upset you didn't get the rematch, and that loss is always going to piss you off. But at 145, growing into a man's frame, that's the best version of the Gremlin I've ever seen. And I've been watching him since he was fighting as an amateur, like 16-year-old dude. So, I mean, that it can piss him off. I hope it lights a fire. It lights a fire for him to say, I'm going to go own my own weight class, because BFL doesn't really have a 145 pro weight class that's doing anything since Jeremy Kennedy took off. So, amazing performance. Almost caught that Mackenzie-style guillotine in the first round with a few seconds left. 20 more seconds, he might have got it. But, you know, I said early he was playing the long game, setting it up for a later finish, and he did. A great job by him. As you said, Carlos Galvan, on the other side, JT's teammate, of course, JT coming out short. Carlos, okay, JT Donaldson last night walked by me at the weigh-ins and said, watch this guy, he's got some shit you never saw before. That's exactly what he said to me. And although JT came up short, his prophecy wasn't far off. We saw Carlos get a little interesting with his, you know, hands down, saying bring it. And upon doing that, it seemed like he got a lot more focused in terms of what it was he was trying to bring to the table. He took the fight over, and you know, Craig McLean is a dude that's dealing with some of the best guys in the province in terms of training. I'm really, really, really interested to see Carlos Galvan fight Cole Smith. He'll make the weight class. That's not an issue. This fight was obviously, I believe, at 140. He'll make the 35. He's got enough motivation. I'm pumped to see what this fight brings on March 17th. We don't get many main events where we have legit dudes from different sides of the soil. So yeah, we got an intercontinental, or an international one going on here come March 17th.